Hey everybody, Brandon here. Today I've got a really cool product to talk to you about. This is the first one that I've received pre-release to test out, play around with, get my hands on with it, and then give you this video about it. So today I'm here, I'm going to talk to you about the TieDi, T-I-E-D-I. Basically, this thing is here to replace your standard ace wrap. This thing knocks it out of the water. It can be used as a compression wrap. It can be used to help you pack items for travel. It can be used to control your cables. This thing has a million uses. Okay, but I'm going to focus on the ones that I had a good time using it for, that I had great results with, and we'll talk about a lot of the other stuff that it can do. So kind of the backstory to this thing is the guy that started developing this had some background in the garment industry. He had a family member who was having some health issues, and they were looking for something along the lines of kind of a self-adhesive closure for clothing to help this person get in and out, getting dressed and all that kind of stuff. Zippers, you know, they work really well, but they can poke you, they're not comfortable. Velcro, again, same deal. If you end up with any of the hook part of that hook and loop fastener against your skin, it's very uncomfortable. So they kind of went through a whole lot of R&D trying to come up with something that was a softer material that had good adhesion and good strength with it, and this is what they came up with. So it's a Kickstarter project right now, and I'll put the link to it in the description of the video. Right now they have 3 different sizes. They have a 1-inch wide, a 2-inch wide, and then they have a 4-inch wide. Now, for the demo products that they sent me the 1-inch and the 2-inch wide. I didn't get the 4-inch wide, but that's the one I'm really excited about, and the reason that I went ahead and backed the project also, because I really want to be able to use it for a compression wrap for my knee. Now, I've had a lot of success with the 2-inch wrap, but again, I need just a little bit more, so either the 2-inch wrap would need to be a little bit longer for me, or I need that 4-inch wrap. I need it to be a little bit wider. But I have had a lot of success with this thing, especially for using this for icing down my knee after workouts. And I'll show that to you here in just a little bit. Now, the 1-inch wrap, again, 1-inch, 2-inch, and 4-inch wide, and then they're all 60 inches long. Now, my 1-inch one is no longer 60 inches long because I've been cutting it up and using it for a lot of different stuff. It's been fantastic for cable management, for chargers, for laptops, phones, cameras, all that kind of stuff when you're traveling. And I'll show that to you here in just a little bit also. So again, what I've been really excited about it with is taking place of an ace wrap. Now I have here Ace Wrap brand. This is their self-adhesive one, okay? So a lot of you are probably familiar with the standard ace wrap, the elastic material, that tan color, and then it has those 2 metal clips that A, either stab you, B, get lost, or C, break after a few uses, right? So then you have to kind of use the ace wrap, wrap it back on itself, and try to tuck a tail in underneath some of the wraps and use that friction there, and it always ends up popping out during the middle of whatever you're wearing that ace wrap for. This is their version of a self-adhesive one, okay? So this is Ace Wrap's version of what this TieDi is. Now, I know you can't feel this, but it has this tacky kind of rubbery, it's that elastic material, and then it's coated with some type of, I'm not real sure if it's like a silicone or something, but it has this tacky, gummy kind of feel to it, and it does its job. The only problem that this has is, other than that kind of stickiness, it doesn't have anything that's really holding this thing together. So when I've used this as my wrap on my knee, it won't stay on. After a while of movement, just from the pressure of having this stretched till I get the compression, and the weak adhesion that it has to itself, the end pops off, and as I'm moving, more and more of it comes undone. So, was really unhappy with this for a compression wrap. This has been outstanding. I've worn this to the gym, just lifting weights. I've worn this to my HIIT class, 9-round, it's like a kickboxing HIIT class thing. I've worn this out jogging, walking the dogs, ruck marching, everything. Now again, particularly for me right now, I'm really waiting for that 4-inch to come in because that's going to be the perfect size. This one hasn't quite got to cover as much of my knee as I really wanted it to. But again, this is just the demo products that they sent out to me, so I'm really excited about that 4-inch wrap coming out. But this thing stayed in place the entire time, doesn't lose any of its adhesion and strength, which is where I think the Ace Wrap started to fail with the movement, is I think it's really the sweat. This material is actually absorbent and will help absorb some of the sweat. I've actually used this when I forgot my hat that I normally wear to the kickboxing. I've used this as a head wrap or a sweatband to keep the sweat out of my eyes. Worked really, really well. Again, because this is absorbent, soaks up the sweat, soaks up the smell also. So this is machine washable. Machine wash, dryer, completely safe. There was no fraying or fuzz coming off, anything like that. Their Kickstarter page tells you that, hey, you can wash and dry this thing as many times as you want, and it's not going to lose any of the self-adhesion or strength on it. So it's been absolutely fantastic for that. So this thing has survived a lot of workouts with me, and I've had no problems with it. This has been washed twice now, and to test the strength on it, my super scientific measure of that is I did it when it was brand new, and I did it just prior to this video. It's a little difficult for me to get set up, so I wasn't going to do it during the video. But basically, I take this thing, I roll it all the way out. I put about 6 inches or 1 hand length for me of the adhesive back on itself. Let's see here, I can do it here for the video. Okay, back on itself, so about 1 hand width there. Press it back onto itself. Take my handy dandy luggage scale. Wrap it through here. Okay, and where I have it adhere to itself is over here on the side, so the weakest spot, I would believe. Put my foot through the loop and give it a pull. 35, there it goes. So right at about 38 pounds is where it starts to pull apart with that adhesion, okay? Somewhere right around 35-ish, you can kind of start feeling it give a little bit, and then at 38 or 39 right there is when it completely comes apart. So that's just 1 hand width, okay? 2 inches wide of adhesion on this thing, and holds, we'll say 35 pounds, you know, satisfactorily. It's outstanding. Again, you know, you might get a little bit stronger go with Velcro or something like that, but for something that I want to have against my skin, this is hands down the better product, and it's as strong as I need it to be. The way this works, and I had to go through and read on their FAQs and everything, is basically when you get down to it, this kind of microfiber-ish material that this is, or like a velvet, you know, I'm not exactly sure, but basically what it is, the fibers down there, they're all loose on the ends, okay? So there's all these little fibers sticking up and out. And on the print side of this, they said there's about 100,000 loose fibers per square inch. And then on this black side, there's 1.3 million per square inch. And so all that's happening is each one of those fibers is getting tangled up with another one, and it provides just the tiniest amount of friction. Well, when you multiply that by all of those fibers getting tangled in together, you get that strength. Okay, again, able to hold 35 pounds right there before it comes apart. So that being said, like, what have I used this thing for? Pretty much anything and everything that I could think of under the sun. Now the 1 inch I cut up to use for some different things. The 2 inch I will probably cut up to use for some different things whenever my product actually ships and then I get the other ones. Until then, I'm going to leave this one solid, or the full length, the full 60 inches. But what I've used this for so far, so recently I went up to DC for a week to go take a trip up there with my wife. we're from Florida, so I don't do cold weather well at all. So I started taking like all of the bulky, like I have a ski jacket that was probably way overkill for what I needed. But again, I don't do the cold. So that jacket, super big, puffy, thing, and I'm trying to pack all my luggage into, or all my clothing into carry-on luggage. So I took this 2-inch wrap and just went around and around and around that and some other like hoodies and stuff that I took, and just used it as a compression to get that thing down as small as possible with the clothing that I was putting into the bag. And it worked outstanding. Then when I was there, I was going around, my wife was there for work, we turned it into a trip. So while I'm going around just walking all over DC, took my backpack with me, my camera, all that kind of stuff. The sun comes out, I'm walking, I start getting hot. Take my jacket off, took the 1-inch wraps and put that through on my backpack. I have the Molly webbing. So the 1-inch here fits perfectly through that. Went through, wrapped it around my jacket and then back around on itself. So I was carrying my coat on the outside of my bag, leaving all my cameras, equipment and everything, with enough space inside of the bag. I'm not trying to cram too much in there. So I've used it for that, held the jacket on the backpack, like I said. Cable and wire control, the 1-inch is outstanding for it, okay? So you can just cut off a little bit. This is just like a 3 or 4-inch piece right here. Now what I did is I folded it back on itself and cut like a slit in there, and then ran my cable through it. So when this is undone and plugged in, this just dangles on there so that I don't lose it. But then whenever I want to wrap up the cable, I just pull it tight, okay? It only has to touch just a little bit there, and then boom, I can throw that in my bag with all my other cables for everything, because everything has its own separate charger nowadays, and keeps everything from getting tangled up in there. So it's been outstanding for that. I've used the 2-inch wrap to go around my Nintendo Switch when I'm traveling, so I can throw it in my bag, pull it out, and I don't have to worry about the screen getting scratched or anything like that. I've used the 2-inch wrap as a compression wrap on my knee. It's worked good for that. I've used it, my favorite use for it is as my ice pack. So I'll use this, okay, to wrap up just like one of these gel ice packs out of the freezer, put it on my knee, wrap it on there. Holds it in place, and it allows me to get up and walk around, which that's the best part, because then I'm not stuck sitting in a chair. The problem I have with the products that I bought before, now this is specifically for going on my knee, okay? Place that right there over the patella, the kneecap. I can wrap this thing around. Now this is great. It has an elastic strap here with Velcro down it, okay? And I can put it on and adhere it. So this strap is now sitting behind my knee. I have the ice pack on it, right? The problem is that the condensation and the sweat buildup on this, everything starts getting slick. So if I get up to move around, I either have to have this uncomfortably tight, or it slides down and ends up around my ankle, okay?
Okay, so I like to start with taking the strap and laying it across the top. And then what I do is I kind of bring the edges around underneath and then back on itself. And then I'll take the other length of the TieDi and I bring it across underneath and going from the bottom up to the top. So I kind of make like an X with it behind my knee. And then I just finish off by wrapping the rest of the strap just kind of across the middle and press it back down on itself nice and tight.
Sorry, we had some camera issues there for a second. So it starts sliding down around my ankle. With using the TieDi, again, every bit of this adheres back onto itself every single time I wrap it around. So not only am I getting more strength and more adhesion there, but it's also an absorbent material. So any of the condensation that starts building up with any of the ice packs, and again, I use this one like for traveling, I don't take this large one, it soaks up that condensation, so it keeps it again from sliding down, so I can get up and move around and do whatever I need to do. So that's absolutely fantastic. So again, I've used it for the ice wrap. I used it as a sweatband. I've used it as an ankle wrap. which it would work for support. I personally was using it because I was breaking in a new pair of low top boots. And so I was getting a hot spot where it was rubbing. And if anybody is familiar with moleskin for putting in your shoes or anything like that whenever you're developing a blister, that's kind of what this feels like. So I just took this, wrapped it around my foot and my ankle, didn't have any more problems with the hot spot for the rest of the day when I was walking around in those boots. I have used this as an actual wrist wrap to give support. I've broken my wrist in the past, so I have some issues with that sometime. So I can wrap this on there. Again, it adheres back onto itself. It's perfect. That's probably what I'm going to end up using this 2-inch wrap for. Majority of the time, whenever my actual order comes in, I'm probably going to cut this down in size and just make this into some wrist wraps. It's been fantastic for that. So this thing is an outstanding product. You're only limited by what you can kind of come up with for what you want to use it for. Again, my preference has been for the wraps. It's been great for that. It stays comfortable against your skin, and the fact that when it starts absorbing sweat and it doesn't lose any of its strength, that's a huge win. That's not something that, again, this Ace wrap, which is what it's designed for, sport applications and everything, it was unable to do. Okay, so that in and of itself is a reason for me to purchase the TieDi. All the other applications that you can come up with, again, for cable management, for packing purposes, all that, okay, that's just more reasons that I can use this as a versatile product. So I spend, my money on one thing and I get a million uses out of it. I'm sure people can come up with all kinds of reasons or other applications they can think of for this thing. And it's gonna be really exciting to kind of see where this is gonna go, because again, the only problem that this company's gonna have is, there's so many uses for this thing. So getting this thing out there in people's hands, letting them see what it can do, putting their reviews up and everything is going to be phenomenal. So you can check them out. They have a Facebook page and everything, their Kickstarter page. I'm going to put all that on there. I'm going to put some, I've been figuring out a little more video editing stuff. I'm going to put some photos, possibly some little videos about the applications that I used this for, and maybe some how to do it stuff. So check them out. They're still on Kickstarter. I believe production is supposed to start February, March, and product is going to start shipping in April is what the timeline is right now. Currently, they're still taking some comments and suggestions from backers about like what color and styles they want on these things. These are, again, just some of the sample prints that they've got going on. I think right now what they're looking at is a new one where it's white with kind of this silver geometric design on it. They're looking at doing some solid colors and then maybe even like some camo colors and everything for people that want to use it for like outdoor purposes. So it'll blend in with their equipment and it won't show, dirt and everything as much. So it's really exciting to see what's going to happen with this thing. So again, thank you to TieDi for sending out this product so I can take a look at it beforehand, get some hands-on. I apologize for it being so long for me to put this video up, but I've just been kind of, every time I would think about making this video, there'd be another thing. Oh, hey, let me go use this for that. And, so I can include it in the video. Let me use it for that, and so finally I just said, I've got to make this thing. They're going to be wondering if I ever got the product in to test out. And yes, I got it and I absolutely love it. The latest thing was a ruck march, about 15 miles. And this thing held up great. It is outstanding. I cannot wait for my 4-inch wrap to come in. It's going to be so awesome because that's exactly what I'm looking forward to. So again, if you've got any questions, comments, if you got any ideas for something like, hey, would it work for this or that or the other, put it on this video or put the comment on this video and I'll let you know. We'll test it out. We'll see what we can come up with. Again, the sky's the limit. We're whatever we can imagine, we can try and do with this thing and see what happens with it. So keep an eye out for some future videos. I've got some more products coming in from Kickstarter here pretty soon. It's been a while since I got one in, so it's been, kind of a gap here in my videos, but I've got some more products coming in. So please hit like, please hit subscribe so you can see what's going on if you're interested about any kind of product that's coming off of Kickstarter or Indiegogo. So that's what I've got for you on this one. TieDi, TieDi. Check them out on Kickstarter, back them. It's a fantastic product. They've got a really cool story about where all this, the design and the ideas and everything came up from. So check them out. Again, hit like or subscribe, and I'll see y'all again soon in another video. Have a good one.